So, speaking of good traders and tacticians, Nargis, welcome to F.A.C.E. I've just passed you the controls. Looking forward to meeting you and talking to you. And here we go. I'm looking at your some type of menu. Okay, now I see nothing and still don't hear you.
Hey Dale, hi, good morning. This is Nargis here.
So nice to meet you, Nargis.
Hi, nice to meet you too.
I appreciate you coming in to talk to our community today. You know, I'm a believer, Nargis, that you know, there are so many great traders that may not be famous and may not have 50, 100,000 followers, but they're kind of like undiscovered gems. And I saw some of your charts on Twitter, and I said, you know, I have to get Nargis in here because she has some skills. So welcome to be a newly discovered talent by Dale Pinkert.
Thank you so much. Really, really honored to be, amongst so much seasoned people, and I'm a little nervous. So,
Well, you're going to be great. And you know what? It's always interesting to find out how someone ended up doing this. And maybe you could take us back to, you know, what you were doing before and what led you into trading and becoming a very good technician to be able to forecast prices. Can you take us back there to how it all began?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So, I'm in Silicon Valley, and as everyone here is like, in the IT industry, development and all that. So I was one of them, working for, eBay for 8.5 years, and going through all the Silicon Valley stuff. And I kept going and went to my desired positions and all, but I always thought something is missing. I was not happy with all my progress. And I used to trouble my husband a lot. I don't want to work. I don't want to work. And he said, you know what, just give it up and do something what you like. So the opportunity came when my second one was born, and I took a break. And I was always doing stocks, and in my head I could see what I'm doing, but I couldn't nail it exactly why would I pick a stock, and what did I see. So then during that break I started going into much deeper, and some of my friends at work had introduced me to technical analysis. They were using the moving average. Oh, it's here, it's there. It crossed about 200 SMA and all that. So a few years ago I got introduced to that. And so during this break I went deep into it, and my god, did I go. It was so interesting. I am not a morning person. I cannot get up in the morning, but for this, rain or shine, fever or no, I get up every day at 4:35, and I'm like, chat. Weekends I don't do well. On weekends I get bored because I don't see a chart. The market is not there. The pressure is not there. So I'm like, okay. So that's how I got into it, and then I started discovering, and then I got introduced to Twitter, and then I was doing Fibonacci after some point, all this moving. So I think my husband tells me that I have a good observation power, So he's
okay.
So then I said, okay, why? Let's put to use what I see. So I go from 5-minute charts to the monthly charts. So the bigger picture. The bigger picture should always there, and then start finding patterns. I think once you look at a chart, immediately if you don't see a pattern or the price is happening, then it's so I guess I've come to that, and every day, every morning I'm excited to go come to work.
Gets in your blood, right? And you love it. I tell people, don't trade just for the money. You have to love it, or it'd be kind of a miserable existence that if you're only happy when things are working out, because it's never always that way. And wow, what a supportive spouse you had to
the morning side.
Wow, that's your best long-term trade, Nargis.
Yes, that's one of the good investments I've done.
What pattern did you see there? No, I'm just kidding. But so it's a work in progress. Would you say you're mainly self-taught, or were there any people that maybe you met on Twitter, or books you read, or courses you took that were an important influence in your trading?
Yes, it was mostly self taught, but that drive at least got me in touch with a couple of good people. Like I said, in my work, there was one guy who was good at technical or at least some stuff. So I learned a few stuff from there. And then, at least seeing the price, how it is, why it is the bullish trend, the bearish trend, how to recognize stuff. And I still stick by that. And I got a couple of, in the trading community, I found a couple of good people. I exchanged my thoughts with them, and I got a good mentor actually. So the newer progress I'm having is due to that actually.
Oh, yeah.
The new stuff I've gone into.
Do you want to name that person?
Yes, I have Sashi Narayan. He's a very good trader and analyst.
Okay.
Very good market research. He's becoming a GAN expert. So,
Okay.
we're
Yeah,
all
that's
rubbing off
very
GAN
cool.
from him.
You're learning GAN now too.
Yes,
So,
yes. So the newer
wow.
level, yes, the newer
You're
level
gonna
gives
have time. You're gonna add the time element to your patterns now. So,
yes, yes,
right. All right.
yes,
So, what a very interesting story, and in your voice, I feel the passion that you have for trading, and I'm a pretty big fan of RSI. So I'm looking at your setup here.
yes,
And I see that you actually even draw channel lines on there. So let me guess, your expectation now would be possibly for the RSI to climb back to retest that pink line.
yes.
But if it breaks the blue line, all bets are off on the long
All
side of
yes,
S&Ps. All
yes.
right. Do you use it for looking for divergences and confirmed highs? Tell me how you use RSI.
So RSI, the way I look at it is basically generally in this area it's fine, the price is going fine. But one of the interesting thing I see is here, especially if it's on the daily, see this anything above
Yeah.
85, that's that's like a red signal. Okay, be ready for just mother of the day red candle kind of a thing any day. So this was
Okay.
right here. And I think I may have a tweet there also saying that one of the interesting thing, Dale, I've noticed is if you go to the monthly chart, when it was a FOMO buying,
Yeah.
everyone was like, buying, 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 and like, oh, the S&P is going to 3,000 and this and that.
Yeah.
And I was at the complete time, I was tracking this. See,
You
here it
saw the
was,
divergence. You saw the
yes,
divergence at new highs.
yes. And it
Okay.
was going to 87. And guess what, uh, it was competing here with 1996 RSI. And every day I was tracking, okay, is it equal to that or did it come near it? The moment it surpassed this 87 by very little, the next day,
Yeah.
it toppled down.
Yeah.
The next day itself, I think it was Jan 26, Jan
And,
27th.
and why, of all the different momentum indicators that you could use, did you select RSI?
Because RSI was, I was introduced to it, I think, very early. And that was one thing which talked to me, like many other.
I hear you.
These MACD and stocks, they are just there because this trading view, I'm using for free and they're taking away all the indicators. So this chart, I don't want to disturb because for my daily trends, this is a clean chart. So I don't
Right.
use MACD as much, but these two things. The price is there for me. I know it's riding the 10 SMA. I am good. Below 10 SMA, that's a caution.
Right.
You may not want to short it, but it's like the daily bull trend is like warning for
Okay.
me. And the moment the price goes up, I know it's a bullish trend until this is. So even now, uh, see. And the other thing which I look at is this is the 10 SMA and this is the price. It is too much extended from there. The more
I
it
see.
goes down, the more distance it creates, the further rubber band pull it will get. So it has to, for me, it has to decrease the distance, up or down, doesn't
Okay.
matter. Up here it went the other day, 3-4 days ago, too much
Yes.
distance, and then boom, down. And
Right.
for same thing, I
Interesting.
think yes.
Is there
So
any
same
kind
thing.
of like percentage above or below it that is kind of
Uh,
like
I
a
think
signal
5
to you?
points. Yeah, I mean, on a daily, on a regular stuff, not like these days where it's one day red, one day big green, one day big
Right.
double size red.
Very hard
On
to
on an
position
average, it's
trade.
$5, 5 points, 5 to 6 points above is like, expect some kind of a pullback.
Okay. So let me ask you
So
this. It's easy when things are working for you.
yes,
I believe it's really kind of a one mistake business or a few big ones. How do you
yes.
manage risk, Nargis?
I have to discipline myself a lot, and I think it's still a work in progress. Believe me,
Okay. Yeah.
because when you're in the thick of things, everything is rosy and hunky dory. But sometimes I still do make mistakes. So I have now trying to use all my technical analysis, my this setups on 30 minutes. Okay, if it closes below this level, or these days it's like the GAN level. It closes below this, I'm out.
Okay.
Small loss or some loss, I'm absolutely fine with it, but save capital.
And you
If they're in,
and you wait for end of day. You don't place stops in the market for algos to pick off. You kind of wait
uh,
till the close.
no, not close. For me, 30-minute close is good enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because once that price has breached that, you know how it is. And plus, I'm sitting here watching it, so I know, like, okay, this is the momentum I can see it's changing. So
Okay. So, my adjustment to FX being a commodity stock guy for the first part of my career, more years there than in FX. How do you manage yourself so that you're not at your trading platform and you can still have a life?
yes.
So you don't ignore your wonderful husband who told you could quit your job and find something you love to do. So
Yeah,
how do you
no.
manage that?
Uh, yes. So yeah. So actually, these days I'm trying to take some longer trades, which I can keep it, and I know, okay, this is how it is. So then, I take it and go, and I come and monitor. I do my stuff, do other chores, drop my kids to school, spend some time with them, and
Do you have
and
you have
yeah.
charts on a phone? Do you use a phone app while you're driving the kids to
Um,
school? I hope you don't trade when you drive.
no,
Uh,
definitely not.
just
So one of the things which I do is I put alerts at the important level where I'm expecting either it crosses up, then it's good for me, or it crosses down, then it's not good for me. So
right.
sometimes those alerts help me to know, okay, there is, change in what I was looking at. So if there is an action needed, then I do it. Otherwise, I'm fine.
Oh,
Sometimes I do adjustments.
okay.
So
All right. Well, I think it was an S&P tweet that caught my eye. What
okay.
other instruments, and I don't know what your philosophy is, but I don't think you have to trade 10, 15 different instruments. For me, that kind of scatters my focus. What other instruments do you pay attention to, or do you just scan a lot of different markets and just look for the best setup?
No, actually, these days I'm like very happy with a few stocks, and
Okay.
S&P is my, the go-to market thing, my market health basically.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I know where it is, that I know, okay, what the market is doing, and I sometimes trade futures, so I trade oil,
o-
ES, and RTY. Sometimes NQ is too fast,
Okay.
so I do
Yeah,
that,
yeah. You
and
find a market that agrees with your personality, your trading
yeah,
personality. And the
yes.
S&Ps are it for you.
Yeah, so S&P, yes, because it helps me to know where the market is at all times, and it's a good trading instrument as well. So yeah,
Okay.
I,
So the S&Ps on your radar, are you position trading this, or are you in for the day, or scalping? It's a great trading scalping market, but very hard to be a position trader in this with all this, up 400, down 500, lack of follow through, or
yeah.
maybe you're just range trading it now between the blue lines. Is that what you're doing in here?
Yeah, so this is what I had marked, seeing that, okay, this is what it is doing these days, and we had come to the 786 retracement from the low of
Like
Feb
that.
5 high of this.
Yeah.
And then this would be 100%. And it almost said that it wanted to do that, but it only came here. Now, people looking at it would think, okay, this is going there, but I was looking at YM, the Dow,
Okay.
because as I said, I was introduced to GAN, and these days I'm doing that. So I realized that, or rather, I was pointed out to that was that the Dow Jones hasn't done its cycles down, and that was pending.
I see. Okay, so you knew there was something incomplete, and that's why you waited for it.
Yes, so I knew that this going up will not go anywhere until that completes. And yesterday it came very close to that number, 23,700. It left 100 points actually. It did some 800 something yesterday, and from there, the moment it did that, since then we are getting this bounce, and this hit 25.83, and since then we are getting the bounce. And the another thing which I was waiting for was Apple to 165.5. It poked to the lower level of 163. So I bought Apple there, and I had SPY calls.
Okay.
So I knew this. So that was a good bet to say the moment it touches that, it could be a good long.
Okay, so you can also key your trading off a different instrument, waiting for Apple and the Dow to get to levels, and then you look at what your main instrument is, the S&Ps, and know if what was weak and leading it once it got to those levels to be alert for a turn. I really like that because I do that a lot with certain markets. I don't know where they're going to end up, but I have a conviction about what something else may do, and I just wait for that to happen, and then the whole picture clears up. So yeah, that's interesting. We're kindred spirits on that. So we use other markets for tells on the markets we trade.
Yeah. Otherwise, sometimes we may not figure out why it is happening, why it keeps falling, or why it keeps going up. So so
I know it's a tough call.
Good for that.
Yeah, I know it's a tough call. What are your expectations now that we cleaned out all the stops under the October low, and we had, people would call this a stop hunt, false breakdown. What are your expectations from here? Just maybe a retrace of the recent drop, or can we break out above 28.10?
Yes. So for now, if you just take it one step at a time, I would just expect it to first test the 10 SMA, which is my thing. So yeah, anything above it, I would expect it to retest this. Okay. So this has hit this trend line 1, 2, 3 times. Fourth time could be a charm. Who knows?
Right.
So either this way, or if it doesn't go this way, then back here and then here.
Okay, and you use these Ichimoku, I don't say it right, these clouds give you some guidance too?
Yeah, it gives me some guidance. Again, I said this trading view, I cannot move this chart because I would have to buy the service because they're taking.
You could remove the clouds, though. I think you can. Oh, that's right. You have to be a subscriber to change all this stuff. I get it. All right.
Yeah, but what I've noticed with cloud is when I draw the fibs, right? The fibs and plan and the wave, they kind of merge into it. So I like it actually. I've started liking it very much now.
Yeah. Isn't that nice? Something you were stuck with is useful. So, and you know what? That's the first time, and I've interviewed almost 1,000 traders, educators, analysts. And it's the first time I've heard someone make that statement that a lot of fibs line up with cloud formations. So that's a pearl. Yeah. And you just trade, you have no axe to grind. You don't sell a service, or do you have a business related to your trading?
No, nothing yet. It's just me, myself, and some friends, they ask, or I tell them, or one of the things is, if you will give me a moment to talk about it, is, women. I would like to educate as many women as possible in trading and taking care of their money, because the most I've heard is, even in Silicon Valley, if you consider, there are a lot of women, all highly educated engineers, computer engineers in big positions. When you ask about them stocks, what do you do with it, or what you're trading? Oh, my husband does it, or this and that. I'm like, you are with such a good degree, with an understanding of something. You run a team. Why can't you understand this?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was my one thing.
I've interviewed other women who have a similar mission, that they want to lift up women, educate people, educate women on trading. And, you know, you would think after what happened in 2000 and 2008 that they'd want to know how to be more self-directed instead of depending upon a salesman at a brokerage house.
Yeah, so at least just know the basic stuff of where stuff is. So, you know, you're not surprised or not dependent on someone. So use your power to, you know, in everything, not just one thing.
Yeah, and divorces happen. And
Oh,
you know, and you know what? And sometimes, you know, the woman, well, most of the time, the woman will outlive the man. I'm not
uh,
saying I know why, but it is
uh,
it is a statistic. So then they're left really in a bind, not knowing what to do if they've
yeah.
been dependent. So you want to make them independent, not only of their husbands, but of everybody.
Yeah, just, you know, use your knowledge in the financials also, you know, be smart there. That's all. And
Okay.
not to overcome anything, but you know, you're doing everything else. Why not this too? Have some basic knowledge. That's yeah.
Well, you know what? Your husband was very fortunate too to meet someone like you, Nargis, in my
Oh,
opinion. And
I tell him he's the luckiest man
you
on earth.
you you
Yeah.
remind him. Okay.
Oh, I
Well,
remind him every single time.
I tell you, I had a lot of fun. Didn't I say that we'd have some fun together? You'd
I
enjoy
know.
yourself. You know, someone has said, "Where can I? What is the Twitter handle of this fine lady?" So you could follow Nargis. Her Twitter handle is Nargis, Nargis 007. Why the 007? You fancy
Oh,
yourself as a secret agent?
no, actually,
Because
you
that's
know
what
what?
I think of. I think of James Bond when I hear 007.
Yes, I've read so many thrillers, and in my head, I'm a detective, like, you know, the Bond or those
Okay.
Perry Mason kinds.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
wanted to be a detective when I was growing up, and
Okay. Oh,
you
that's
know, doing
great.
all that stuff. So I thought, if not there, why not here? Like, you know, finding
Yeah.
stuff, you know, being the detective here. So
That's a great metaphor because you have to be one. You have to look under
yeah,
the surface. That's why I use RSI and not just price. You get messages from things that aren't on the surface, but underneath it. And from what I could tell, if I was to hire a detective, you'd be the first one I'd call, Nargis. So
oh, thank you
uh,
so much.
really a pleasure meeting you. You know, I wish you a happy holiday season, happy New Year, and that pips rain down on you and you and your family have a wonderful holiday, and that your trading continues to evolve because you know we're either growing or dying, right, Nargis?
Yes, definitely. Yes, either you grow or you die.
Yeah, and it never stops. You know, someone said, you know, I'm still learning, I'm still learning. I say, well, it never ends. So
Yes, the day you stop learning, you're done.
yeah, so I really am glad that we met, had a chance to have a conversation. So thank you very much, Nargis. You're now my trading warrior sister, and I encourage people to follow you on your Twitter account at Nargis, again, Nargis 007, the detective trader Nargis. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank you,
All
thank
right.
you. Appreciate it. Yeah,
I had a
okay.
great time. Thank you. You made my day. Thank you,
Thank you so
Nargis.
much. Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
everyone, that's going to be a wrap for Turnaround Tuesday. Good hunting the rest of the day. See you in private chat and the member chat or on Twitter. Adios. And remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. See everyone tomorrow.